I spent a ton of time before Traeger, post Skullcandy, writing about my experience,
Mhm.
like really being introspective around the success and the failures. And so that became the blueprint, at least for the first 2 or 3 years at Traeger. And what I've realized is, as a business leader and still trying to be an entrepreneur, because I think that's important, you have to reinvent yourself and you have to reinvent your team and you've got to reinvent your company. And if you don't do that, you get disrupted the same way that you were disrupted.
Welcome back to the Startup Ignition Podcast. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, whatever you're doing it, sharing it with your co-founder, sharing it with your entrepreneurial buddies. But today I'm Tyler, you know me by now, and this is John, our co-host.
Hello.
We're your father-son dynamic duo in entrepreneurship training. I don't know who else you're listening to that has a father-son podcast, but maybe there's a couple out there. But today...
I'm about to start one.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy. Today we have Jeremy Andrus, guys. Awesome guest. I'm so excited to have you. I'm so excited to dive into the conversation.
Let's go.
And hey, maybe we'll take you up on your father-son podcast. How many sons do you have?
Two.
2 sons.
2, yes.
Okay. And how many kids total?
6.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Four little girls, and we tried one more time for a boy.
Oh, wow.
Hit a double in the bottom of the 9th.
Oh, baby.
Identical twin boys. There was
you're
no way
kidding. Really?
It's been amazing. They're 9 years old now. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They're my buds.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
It's cool.
Is that who you're going to the basketball game
It
tonight?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy said, "Oh, I gotta push up the podcast because I gotta go to a basketball game tonight." It's a high school basketball game.
That's
I'm
right.
That's crazy
It's
that
a
your kids
big
want to
one.
go to a high school game.
Yes, indeed.
But you're saying it's like a semifinal or something. Okay. So, anyways, we're John and Tyler. This is Jeremy. Jeremy, I have a bio on you. I'm gonna read it real quick here,
Okay.
and then we're gonna do a fun little icebreaker, and then we're gonna get into the meat of the podcast, which is we just hope to hear your story.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Jeremy Andrus is a serial entrepreneur and business leader best known for transforming Traeger Grills and Skullcandy. He joined Skullcandy back in what?
Late 04.
2004, 2005 era?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking right after the .com era.
Yep.
Then after that, it was a tiny little startup, Skullcandy, and then same thing with Traeger Grills, right? Traeger Grills, you turned that thing into a $300 million public company now. You have moved its headquarters from Oregon to Utah, rebuilding the team, putting people first in your culture, and under your leadership, Traeger has just gone to new heights. How long have you been doing Traeger Grills now?
12 years, and we're about a $500 million business.
Oh, okay.
500 million.
AI has failed me once again. So not 300,
Yep.
500 million
Yep.
public company. Holy
awesome.
moly. That's amazing. You were also EY Entrepreneur of the Year. What else do you have underneath your name? You're hugely known for culture and community building. You earned your MBA from Harvard. You went to BYU for your undergrad.
Yep.
What did you study there?
I studied economics and international relations.
Hey, an economics major who has actually turned entrepreneur. Who would have thought, right?
100%.
Yeah. And you're living up in Salt Lake City with apparently your 6 kids and you're full-time Traeger. Are you doing anything cool, fun, new, and different?
You know what? So first of all, I love that bios have none of my failures in there because we don't have time for that list. Honestly, I am busy all the time.
Yeah.
6 kids, very involved. Traeger's where I spend most of my energy, but I sit some non-business boards like Goio.
I know you're doing a lot of
Silicon
angel
Slopes,
investing too, I read too.
You know what? I do far too much angel investing. It is, I'll call it a habit, a passion, a weakness.
Might be an addiction.
And addiction's probably, it's probably a good word, but
All of us have that a little.
My family office, we have hundreds of small investments, and the guys that run it tell me this is getting too complicated. I'm like, that's your job.
Yeah.
I love to invest. I love entrepreneurship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, your superpower to me has always been too. I think about it as kind of like leadership and operations. Like you really know how to lead and bring in efficient, effective operations into startup ventures. That's kind of what I've always looked at you as. You
Yeah.
take it
Interesting.
from this level to that level, and you're not a lot of founders and entrepreneurs can actually make it through that full gauntlet.
Has it always been product companies?
You know what? So I have a lot of passion for product.
Yeah,
I really love durables. I love innovation. I love sort of bringing technology to stale product categories.
Yeah.
And so I do love product. I love entrepreneurship first and foremost. And John, what it's interesting that you say that. One of the things that I was literally telling my CFO this yesterday in our annual performance review, where he's giving me feedback, which I gladly take. And one of the things I said is, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years now. And every one of those years, I think about how can I bridge from being an entrepreneur to being a good leader, to being a CEO who's not just in every detail, in every product pricing strategy meeting, but someone that's actually learning how to motivate and inspire people.
Yeah.
And that is not, I'll just say for me, it's not an easy transition, because as an entrepreneur, you want to be in the middle of everything. And then you realize that doesn't scale.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out how do you scale by inspiring people and building culture that creates
Delegating without abdicating.
that's right. Trust but verify, hold accountable.
Right.
But not with an iron fist, but with something that actually unlocks people's like their real value and their real potential. So I'm somewhere on that continuum, better than I was a year ago. Certainly better than when I started Skullcandy.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what I was doing. I look back and I had no idea.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've had Adam Edmonds on the podcast, and so Adam was somebody I mentored from his earliest days at school and college, and he shared with us something that he's learned about his career. He fancied himself being an entrepreneur, startup guy, but he's found out he's just really good at operations. So that's why he got tagged.
And he's
moved
running
from
a
Podium
big business
over to Entrada.
Yeah.
And Entrada's gone from 1 billion to 4 billion under his tenure, and even ready to go more. And he's just really good leader and operator.
Adam's awesome.
And, it's really interesting that, and of course I knew him when he was just trying to be a scrappy student entrepreneur, right? So it's interesting.
Okay, I want to hear about how you guys met, but I'm going to do this icebreaker. I'm going to force an icebreaker.
There we go.
On these
Do it.
Okay, I got a quick game.
Oh no,
to get into the mood of podcasting, Jeremy. Get a little loose here. I got a game, and you're playing too.
Okay, go ahead.
I got a game here called Grill or Chill. I hate to dive into Traeger. You're like, guys,
Grill or chill.
You guys, Traeger's not my identity.
You're getting in my grill this fast.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So grill or chill. Okay, I'm gonna give you a prompt in the age of AI. Right, we're all prompting. I'm gonna give you a prompt, and you're gonna tell me if you're grilling, if you're into it, or if you're chilling and you're not into it.
All right.
All right. And you two.
Okay, go ahead.
First one. We're gonna start easy. Pineapple on pizza.
Chill.
You're chilling on
Yeah.
it. You are hard grilling.
Grilling.
I know my dad. He's hard.
I'm not
grilling.
offended. It's not where
I get
start.
offended. I'm not offended. I get so many people attacking me a little bit when I go for pizza that are pizza aficionados going, how can you put pineapple on a pizza?
For what it's worth,
The Hawaiian roots. There we go.
for what it's worth, I'm mildly grilling on that.
There you go.
Okay, here we go. Next one. Starting a company with your best friend as your co-founder.
Ooh.
You grilling or chilling?
Boy, it's hard to say without knowing the dynamic, but on balance, I love it. I love a partnership of people who know and trust and care for each other.
Yeah.
While they can go sideways, I think if you really know this person, I'm grilling. I think it's a great way to live life with people you love and like you get inspired with.
Yep.
I'm a slight grill with caution because you and I are working together, father, son. There's incredible risk with that, but also incredible levels of trust.
Grilling with caution. He's touching the Traeger with
Grilling with caution.
Well, I've had some
long spatula.
I've had some best friends I've pulled into my ventures over the years, and it's been really good, and they did a really good job, and they became wealthy, and it was good. So
you know what? I actually like that response because the with caution, I've seen it go very badly, and it's actually very. Those ones don't just go badly; they become toxic, and it's very sad to see.
Okay,
that
quick
happen.
story, and then we'll move on to the next one here. We invested in a company through our fund. It was two brothers that started the company, and then one additional third co-founder, tertiary co-founder, who was not related to the family. The two brothers were the one that broke up the co-founding team, not the third one coming in.
Don't tell the story because people will be able to
I can't even
backtrack
go
it.
into the, I can't even go into
It
the
was pretty
story,
ugly,
but it
we'll
was
leave it
bad.
at that.
It was
Okay.
bad. All right, next one. Here we
Grill
go.
with caution. I like that.
Yeah, we're grilling with caution over here. Wearing Crocs. Are you grilling or are you chilling?
I'm not grilling on
You are
Crocs,
not. You are
no.
chilling hard.
I'm chilling.
I'm okay to grill because I have those in my garage, and when I need to go outside to take the
Come
garbage
on,
out,
Jeremy.
I put on
Jeremy,
the
you have
Crocs.
6 kids. You own 100 pair of Crocs.
So here's the
you
thing.
know you
my,
do.
My kids do, and my boys, like they're big, aggressive football and lacrosse players. I don't know where they got any of their. I do from their mom. My
From their
wife's
mom,
an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
But they've got these incredible pink Crocs they wear with so much passion.
Pink.
But here's the one thing I will tell you. I remember looking at Crocs when we were taking Skullcandy public. Crocs kind of went public, and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, it went up and it dropped off a cliff. Fast forward, I don't know, 15, 17 years later, a CEO came in and completely reinvented Crocs and took it from zero to hero. I mean, it's got to be worth, I haven't checked it lately, $8 billion.
I mean, they're hot.
And so I would say from a, maybe not my style, but I really have a lot of respect for a CEO that can take something
for the
like
company.
that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Respect.
also, besides the pair I have in my garage, I have literally a pair of golf shoe Crocs that are golf shoes.
Ooh, I need to get my hands on those.
That is a product extension. I didn't know they did that.
They did that. It's got all the what do you call them underneath the cleats? It's crazy, but they're Crocs.
I'm leaving here and buying my first pair of Crocs. Thank you for inspiring me.
Okay, here we go, Jeremy. Now, I'm just gonna dangle this one out there for
where
you.
Where are we going?
Okay, you grilling or chilling on my idea here? A Traeger AI. Are you grilling or are you chilling?
Traeger AI. Question is, what does it do?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a grilling mate that AI infused into your next grill.
It's your grilling co-pilot.
Yeah.
So I am 100% grilling.
You're
on
grilling
that.
on that.
I am. And part of that is that.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. I can't tell you what I'm thinking about. But here's what I would say. We are not an appliance company. We are not steel and steel benders and welders and electronics and like all of those things are commodities. The wood that goes in it, we're experienced providers.
Yep.
And when you think about what really inspires someone to cook, you got to nail the durable, but it's really the content, and it's sort of the frictionless experience of inspiring them, teaching them, and because everyone comes from a different place. And some of the things that we find 3 years ago were hard to do in an app in terms of, like really robust meal planning and timing of when you put it on, what temperatures, how you put a meal together. Yeah. I think AI is going to be an incredible tool.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You say, you live in AI, you have your Traeger app, which has all this stuff, but they say, hey, I want to do some cool for my friends coming over tonight with my Traeger grill. What's the coolest, latest thing I can do? And it tells you some ideas.
And it says, take a picture of your refrigerator and I'll tell you exactly what to cook. Like I'll tell you what you have and what you don't.
Yeah.
Hey,
see, that's
we
good stuff.
just leaked the new future Traeger grill infused with AI. It's coming.
But it's like, it's so fascinating to think about what is going to get disrupted.
Yeah.
How quickly. And where is their value? AI is never going to build our grills. The Optimus robots that have AI and the May.
Yeah.
But how do you create an advantage even in a space that's not AI powered to create emotional connection with your consumer?
This question leads something before we end the episode. I have to tell both basically Jeremy and Rick Alden of Skullcandy back in the day taught me something super important that informed the rest of my angel investing career. I learned something from that deal, and I want to share that because it's spot on with what you're saying about the experience.
So we're going back to that. Don't say now. Okay.
Not now. We're going to go back.
Not as part of the grill.
I got to get through this icebreaker, boys.
When we met. By the way, though, I got to say about the Optimus thing. Did you guys see yesterday the Chinese video that came out where they had like 30 robots doing Tai Chi kung fu moves in unison?
Yeah, I've
fighting.
Seen that. I've seen that.
Do we know if that was AI generated?
I don't know. Maybe it was.
You never know. You really don't know.
If that was real, I go, what the heck?
We could go sideways on.
I was envisioning soldiers coming over the hill.
Okay, here we go. I'm moving us along, boys.
Yeah, yeah.
Here we go.
You're doing a good job.
I'm trying to be moderator here.
We're having too much fun.
I know. Here we go. Do you prescribe to this? Okay, you grilling or chilling? Growth at all cost mindset.
Oh my gosh, you're catching me in a moment. I am chill on that.
You are super chill on
You know
that.
what? So it's interesting. I was a grill at all costs. that too. Grow at all costs entrepreneur until I realized that it can lead you in a tough spot, and you always need to be moderating. Is my growth actually driving long-term value creation? And you realize that sometimes it is and sometimes it's not.
What do you mean by that? Dive into that just for a second.
You know what? When you can really create a business whose flywheel lives on high quality dollars, like high quality, sustainable, repeatable, profitable dollars, then you'd rather be a smaller business doing that than a bit bigger business that's just not creating underlying value, where it's not repeatable, it's not profitable, it's not a segment that can grow. There are all sorts of things that you step back and look at, and I just I can go sideways on the last 12 months in our business.
Yeah.
Hardest of my 20 plus year career. And one of the things that was really hard for me to learn is we needed to unwind some of the growth. I mean, like we are deliberately cutting many tens of millions of dollars more that were a bandwidth suck. They weren't going anywhere. They were complicated. They were supply chain complicated. They were unprofitable. They were bad end consumer experiences. We shut down our direct to consumer business, which almost no one in consumer does. And so it's like really understanding how is value getting created long term. And as an entrepreneur, it's a product and it's all growth.
Mm-hmm.
Until you start to hit natural ceilings and you realize I need to find good growth, not just growth.
Sustainability.
Sustainability for sure.
So one of the things too.
By the way, that's a great question. If you'd asked me that 3 years ago, I'm like, growth all the time. Yes.
Well, now I am interested. Are you grilling or chilling on that?
So I am
on growth at all costs.
It depends. This is a very important. A lot of as an economics
he's got
major,
a lot of depends and optionals.
As an economics major, you know most answers in economics are it depends on this and that, right?
So true.
So, but on this one is we are super big believers in assets and cycles. Okay,
Yeah.
So it's where you're at in the
macroeconomic
cycle. Not the life cycle of a product as much as the where the Fed fund rate is and what are we going in an interest environment that's saying let's go for it, right? That type of thing. So I'm just saying, if I was in 2012 to 2016, I'd be saying probably growth at all costs because I know what's coming, a bubble. And we're marching up towards a bubble, and that growth, that revenue, wherever it comes from, is going to get highly rewarded in 2020 and 2021 if I were to look back and analyze that. But in 2022, 2023, 2024, we have to know where we're at in the economic cycle, and that is not a smart play. We got to say, not growth at all costs, because this could cost us our company. So we've got to be very measured in what we do in the 22 to 23. So zero interest rate period is different than
you're spot on.
High, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have to we're like I want to as one of the legends in the Utah ecosystem, and you truly are. Like I've maintained this. Like I saw the beginnings at BYU of Podium and Divvy. Let's take those two companies. I believe both of those companies, if they had started in 2018, 2019 versus 2012, 2014, would we have the same outcome?
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting.
Yes.
The answer is absolutely not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it matters how much you can accelerate into growth investments. If you're swimming upstream for growth, you would rather moderate growth and focus on underlying unit economics and just think about a business model. And I love that you've couched it in a macro economy, because that really is. It's like, what is the interest rate environment, and what is the underlying engine of business, customers, of consumers?
Yep.
And so I've certainly seen that, but I've also seen that there are life cycles within industries, within
that can be countercyclical,
within categories,
trends or waves
within companies.
But generally speaking, a lot of people think venture is immune to these cycles, but it's not.
It's not.
But either is Bitcoin, by the way. Either is any asset class. We have to be aware of how that asset class is affected
Highly
by
correlated.
the cycle and where we're at. Right? That's what I've noticed.
No, you're right. And I've seen some countercyclical. 2008 to 2012.
Yeah.
Like that was the first recession I lived through as a business leader.
Yeah.
And I didn't know there was a recession. Like we in 2007 we were $40 million business in 2012. We were
For tech,
$300
for
million
tech, it wasn't
business.
that bad, right?
It wasn't bad. So we had a counter. For us, the counter cyclical was portable media, and we were just connected to that.
Yeah.
Had no idea the housing market was.
Well, that
crashing.
blew up during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this leads me into
It's a podcast over. Like this is. By the way, I'm impressed that we're 20 minutes in.
I know you're.
It's like, but we're hitting some meaty.
Oh, yeah.
Like beyond.
No,
I
this
have 3 more. Should I skip them or should we keep going?
No,
I think we should keep
this
going.
Is great.
Okay, here we go. You grilling or chilling on this one, Jeremy? Office dogs. What do you think about office dogs?
Bringing dogs to the work.
So I'm grilling on office dogs with caution.
Okay.
And here's caution. But I'm sitting in the Abbey, which is a place where we feed our team. Yesterday, having a meeting over lunch.
Wait, does Traeger allow office dogs?
We do with my CHRO, and there's a dog barking and barking and barking. I am a dog lover. My children want a dog so bad. My wife is a hard no on dogs.
Oh yeah,
and that's okay. I don't fight that battle. And so I'm happy to have them there, but when they're leaving
yapping
messes and they're yapping, and we've got 300 people in this room for a company meeting, and there's a dog that's upset that they're not joining the meeting. You gotta take a little bit of ownership over your dog. But I love dogs.
I'm chilling.
sensitive subject. Sorry,
You're
all the
chilling.
Traeger.
Oh, interesting.
I'm chilling because maybe it's my age, but I chill on remote work.
I was gonna say if the question was remote work or not, he's chilling hard.
All the data shows remote work is way less productive.
I have strong opinions on this one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
I am 100% in your camp on this one.
Office only.
I am chilling. Well, that's not what we do at Traeger right now. But I've always been a believer that, the intangible or the X factor in an organization is
in person.
It's in person. It's the culture and how you live it together. It's these sort of spontaneous moments that don't happen in 30 or hour minutes.
It's the collisions between humans that make magic.
It's trust and relationships, and that's not clinical. Yeah. And I actually, fortunately, we really debated this because talking about cycles, we grew from 2013 to 2021 and really accelerated during the pandemic. And then 22 was when we decided, we were not focused on growth. We were focused on other things, profit, liquidity, things like that. And I'm watching this ecosystem of companies say, no, work anywhere, come in anytime.
Yeah.
And we chose to not pioneer the first to be back to the office. Other than we said, we're 3 days. Yeah. And it's not 3 random days. I want everyone here Monday through Wednesday. But I actually really appreciate that other companies are now saying we're together all the time because it gives us something to lean into. I think it's the right thing for an organization.
How many employees are there at Traeger now?
Well, in Utah, which are in our Salt Lake headquarter office, just under 300.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you're 3 days a week right now.
We're 3 days a week. We cook every day for everyone who's there, which should be everyone. And you know what? I just think I think there was a time for this experiment. I always believed it was a failure. Now, here's what I'll say. Our team's really good. They're really committed. We went through some downsizing last year post tariffs. And so you're sort of left with the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And so I do believe that right now, because there's a lot of appetite for, they love the flexibility. Yeah. Thursday, Friday, for now, it's working fine.
Yeah. But back to the dog too. I just see it as a distraction.
I love how this started as office dogs.
Yeah.
Where this has arrived to.
All right, you better hit your last.
But so to summarize, you are chilling on office dogs and you are chilling on return to office. No, you're grilling on return to office.
I'm grilling on that. No question.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Last one, and then this is the one I want to ask you. Taking a company public, are you grilling or are you chilling?
Oh my gosh!
Come on!
How much time do you have? Let's just say when I
say whatever you want.
I'll answer with a story. When I went on the Traeger IPO roadshow, which was actually from my Four Seasons hotel room in downtown New York, because during the pandemic we couldn't do a roadshow.
What, you were just jumping on video calls in the Four Seasons in New York?
and we had so many more. Oh, it was the most intense, far more intense than doing 30 meetings over 2 weeks in 30 different, well, 50 meetings in 30 cities. It was like 4 days, like 50 meetings.
Wow.
49 of the 50 meetings from the very first one. I published something in Harvard Business Review in like 2017, 18. And I made this comment that's buried in like 4 or 5 page article, which was, I left Skullcandy because I hated running a public company and I'll never do it again. Like from like the very first person, it's like, okay, I'm going to quote you on, and it's like every other meeting, it's like, hey, I read something. Let me explain to you what you read.
Yeah, okay.
And so honestly, but I will say it depends.
Yeah.
I don't mind running a public company. I hated doing it the first time because I was young and I was scared, and we were the highest shorted stock on the NASDAQ, and that's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But I will say that I do think that there is a case for being a public company, but I don't believe that consumer product brands make for great public companies. And that's just because, what Wall Street really values is predictability. You almost get paid more for predictability than for growth. Mm-hmm. Growth that's not predictable, you don't get paid for. Consumer companies tend to go through more aggressive cycles, particularly consumer discretionary. Mm-hmm. And so, and notably high ticket things that are just the durables, you can just get another year or two out of them.
Aren't a ton of public companies CPG companies?
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's really hard to be a public company without scale. And in a consumer business, you've got to be north of $1 billion of revenue. Yeah. And we're not.
Yeah.
And just without like real predictability, if you are a direct business that has a very, very predictable model, but when you are predominantly selling through other retailers, you have a wholesale business, you really depend upon the investments that they want to make to drive your brand. Mm-hmm. And so I've learned a lot the second time being public. If I were to be honest, that wasn't what I would have necessarily chosen. It wasn't my first choice, but I had private equity partners that they were motivated to do it. I was willing to do it. They've been great partners, and I failed the first time at it. So I said, let me see if I can succeed the second time. And I failed the second time.
Such good insight you're sharing.
This is
Thank
so
you.
good. Let me rephrase the grill or chill proposal or prompt. So not thinking historically now.
Yeah.
Thinking forward,
yeah.
Thinking of our audience member who's a budding entrepreneur, starting something new, hopefully potentially getting to this spot. Should they grill or should they chill on a public IPO?
I think that for the most part, I think they should chill.
They should chill on it.
And I think there are select cases. There's so much private market capital and liquidity that I think there has to be a very specific case to go public, and it's not for an exit.
Yeah,
it's actually not an exit. When you are a founder, when you're a concentrated owner, everyone gets upset every time you sell.
Yeah,
they don't care if you sell as long as they're no longer holders.
Yeah.
And so it's an incredible experience to take a business public, but if it's not right, it's like marrying the wrong person and saying, "Boy, that was a great wedding party," but whoa, all I wanted was a party.
I can't speak to it. I've never taken a company public, but this guy over here has. Are you grilling or chilling?
I'm chilling. I agree with everything he's saying. Also, the people you meet in the process, there's some great ones. There's also some people that are not so great.
Yeah.
The New York crowd, I'm going to just say it up front, right? They're a tough crowd, and they're different than my normal people I hang around, right?
Totally.
So, and so that's that. And it's just you have to be the right kind of company. Mine was lucky. I was in the .com era. I was a sweetheart company of that style, so it was really pretty good. But I could see that if everything doesn't come together perfectly, it's probably more negative
it's
than
hard.
positive.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, that's how I'm saying.
Okay,
and look, I actually think it's a lot harder to run a public company today than it was 20 years ago. Sarbanes-Oxley and all of the very, very tight SEC regulation and policy makes it hard.
And then with automated trading right now, the shorting that goes on, I mean, there's just a lot that comes with it. If you're an employee of a public company that has a rocket ship opportunity going public, is great. But the leaders, the founders, the C-suite, it's not the best life.
It's not. I agree.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, we have no opinion on that topic.
Yes, exactly.
Other than the last 10 minutes, we have no opinion.
Yeah.
You survived my hot seat. That was great. I mean, we're 25 minutes into the podcast.
It was getting a little warm in here. Though.
Yeah.
Let's.
And now we can officially fire up the full conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move into Jeremy and your background.
I'm really
Take us back.
I want to hear this.
Yeah, me too.
Pre-Skullcandy. I want to hear your history before
Yeah.
Skullcandy.
So where do we begin, Jeremy? You take us wherever.
High school.
You know what?
Where'd you go to high school?
Well, so I'll start by I went to high school in Washington D.C. So I'm
Really?
kind of an East Coasterner. Lived in Europe for a little bit growing up. In the Midwest till I was 11. Here's how I would describe me and how that sort of that grew with me and why I'm an entrepreneur today. Gritty. I grew up I was telling my boys this and they couldn't understand this last night as we were driving back from Park City. I had a paper route at 7 years old. And I delivered the paper 7 days a week with my older sister in Minnesota in the blistering cold on Sunday mornings. You'd have to kind of, you have to pack the papers and put the want ads and the comics and in the paper and take this metal cart around the neighborhood. But I grew up in a lower middle income home. And if I wanted to buy a pair of Nike shoes, I'm going to deliver the paper and I'm going to collect the money from the paper customers, which is the worst thing in the world. I bought a lawnmower at like 8 years old and started cutting lawns. And so I grew up very gritty. I just grew up gritty. My dad was a hard worker. And so it was in my blood, but I also, I hated scarcity and I kind of grew up in scarcity. And so that motivated me to work hard. I'm a very introverted person and I was small growing up. And so I was always confident, but I was quietly confident and I always had a chip on my shoulder. And it wasn't a negative chip. I'm like a super positive.
How many siblings do you have?
4 siblings. And I'm the second. My older sister is 18 months older, but I knew that I had to outwork everyone else because I sort of looked at myself as high confidence, but sort of mediocre capability. I thought it then. I think it today. When I say this to my wife, she hates. She's like, stop! You're the smartest person I know. I was like, I'm actually not being self-deprecating. I actually really believe. Business and life success is a willingness to just methodically keep going through good times and through bad at the same pace.
Yeah, but we also have different paradigms to measure that, like the academic world and the whole education system. I mean, that's why we say A students teach B students how to work for C students. Right. And because there's not just an IQ, there's an EQ.
There's
right?
an EQ. And and by the way, I actually... That is one of the reasons why I have had some success. At Harvard Business School, I worked harder than anyone. I mean, I was in the Baker Library every day, 6-7 hours studying, and I was middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. But I know how to make money. I know how to build business. I would have negotiated well below sticker price on a car at 4 or 5 years old. I've always loved negotiation. I've always been selling things. I've always been writing business plans.
It's kind of a hallmark of Utah too. If you think about it,
is.
I think let's take Silicon Valley. Often deeper tech, really deep thinkers can't sell their way out of a paper bag.
It's so true.
Utah. Software code we write in a weekend. And then we sell the heck out of them and create a unicorn. That's what happens.
I also think that's why when AI could really play to the go-to-market strength in Utah.
Yeah, right.
Because it levels the playing field a little bit on the tech development. That's a great thought.
That's a good insight. AI is actually going to help Utah.
Oh, for sure.
A lot.
Yeah, it's going to make the world flatter.
Yep.
It's going to shrink the world, and Utah is going to have more prominent presence.
And as AI enables all of those skills and the execution, it's about owning the market, the customer, who's got access to the customer more than anything else. As product cost comes down,
that's going to matter more.
So much more.
So how did Minnesota to DC happen?
Yeah.
You know what? So my dad, he's a brand marketer.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a General Mills family in Minnesota.
Okay.
I was on the back of the Cheerios box in 2nd grade because their paid model didn't show up. So they called the school, can you come and take pictures?
And Jeremy was the best looking sibling, so they selected you.
Jeremy was the only one available that day. So moved to the UK, to the Midlands of England when I was 11 years old. General Mills owned a toy company there that my dad went to run. So I definitely grew up in a product and a brand family.
Yeah.
And then went to went to Marriott Corporation DC, and was very early in the Courtyard by Marriott brand.
Your
And
dad
so
moved from General Mills to Marriott.
he did.
Okay.
Yep.
got it.
Yep. Bill Marriott recruited him there. And it's interesting, like, and he became an entrepreneur in the second part of his career.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of very meaningful disruptions to my dad's career. The one was when we went from the UK to Boston, again, a General Mills owned toy company called Parker Brothers. It's like Monopoly games and G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Parker.
They had a large Atari video game division, and this thing was blowing up. And my dad lost his job when it went from like feast to famine overnight. Lost his job. That business unit it disappeared.
General Mills owned Parker Brothers
They
and
did.
Atari?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
They owned a lot of businesses.
Wow.
Surprise, and of course, like focus is a real business
I thought
principle.
they were just cereal.
They were a lot. But so went to Marriott, and then lost his job again when he was heading up the Courtyard International division. And in the early 90s, Marriott almost didn't survive. And so he became an entrepreneur. And like, I saw entrepreneurship in him. We did things together all the time. Remember one summer he started a scone stand at the Minnesota State Fair because he was thinking about building a scone retail concept.
Yeah.
And so he became an entrepreneur really out of necessity. He had a few months of severance, and he built a business and was very, very successful in his second career. But it's interesting, like entrepreneurship oftentimes comes early.
Yeah.
He had a mindset, but when you have kids early and you have not a great lifestyle to support, but a mortgage to pay and kids going to college. And so that really inspired me to watch him, because I always believed that I was a business builder, which is amazing when you look at some of the things I did. It's like, what were you thinking? Like, you did a summer of investment banking. It was horrible. You spent 2.5 years as a management consultant. Like, these things are just the antithesis of entrepreneurship.
That was post your economics degree. You just
Yeah.
went into the work
You know
field.
what? Economics made me really smart, and I decided I was going to be a management consultant and learn
probably
strategy.
beat the risk and made you risk averse.
Well,
all that.
so what it actually did is it made me a risk-seeking animal.
Oh, really?
Because I'm in consulting, and it's just like, it is a portfolio of risk spread across other companies, and when they don't succeed, you go somewhere else. And when your advice is not valuable, it's all right. You already got paid. And I saw this, and I couldn't stand having a finished product be a PowerPoint strategy document.
Yeah.
And not really know, you don't have skin in the game to know if it works. And so, two or so years as into management consulting, I started day trading stocks full time. And this is late 90s. And, I'd saved a lot of money cutting lawns and, delivering newspapers and stuff. And I was just so bored in management consulting that I would show up in my office in Santa Monica, California at 3:34 in the morning, and I would start day trading.
Yeah.
I turned $100,000 into $2.5 million, which was a ton of money then.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
And by the way, I wouldn't tell you the story if that was the end of the story.
Yeah.
And then I turned $2.5 million into negative $200,000.
Oh, yeah. That can happen.
And that's when I started shorting internet stocks that I just like, these things have no business model. This is insane. I was right.
What
that time.
year did you do that in?
98, 99.
Little early to start shorting.
I was early. I was
a year or
right,
two
but
later,
early.
you would have made a lot of money.
Right, but early. And so no, consulting like made me realize I want to have skin in the game. Day trading was like, but I wasn't creating value.
Yeah.
And so, I started building real estate too slow. Like I loved going from building PowerPoint decks to seeing like things come out of the ground and development, but too slow for me.
Yeah.
And so like a career journey is, for me, it was a lot of trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
And it was many years of feeling like I was spinning my wheels, working my hardest, and not really finding either success, actually more important than success, not finding like a real connection to what I was building.
Yeah.
And I've actually found it, and I actually found it in business you've never heard of because it was not enormously successful. But this is when I realized, okay, you've always been an entrepreneur. You're showing up to this place, writing a business plan, raising money, doing customer calls, operating a forklift in the warehouse, and you're happy as could be making no money whatsoever. And so it's been a journey, but it took me a while to figure out, like, to really unlock what I cared the most about.
It's about what I'm hearing, and it's what I like to say. Entrepreneurs are really builder growers. You like to build and grow things.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Which is why it's a little hard when you get to a moment where it's not about growth.
Yeah.
And you got to think this is about being a catalyst for the next wave of growth.
Setting the table for the next
exactly.
wave. So you have to do the build process before you scale. So
yes.
Build, scale, build, scale. And I also like to say it's a stair step. It's not a straight curve. It's set the table, scale.
Yep.
Set the table, scale.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So when did you first start your own thing then? So you did consulting, you did...
Let's go back to the high school. So high school in DC, then you came out to Utah for college.
Did BYU.
Yeah. BYU. So you got that undergraduate. Then you worked for a while.
I became
when
a
did
management
Harvard come into
consultant.
play?
Well, so Harvard's something I always wanted to do. I
that was after management consulting and things.
It was. So I worked for 4 years, and
you graduated college what year?
96.
And then you worked in these places,
Yep.
you were saying. So then you went to Harvard in 2000.
2000.
So for 4 years, you got during the .com era. Why didn't you join a .com startup?
You know what?
That was the perfect timing.
So by the way, it's a good question. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
And I think
you've done all right. It's okay.
Well,
yeah. I'm just saying that was the perfect time.
It was the perfect time. And honestly, I invested in a lot of .coms.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started shorting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right and wrong. But I left BYU with a really defined career strategy. And I won't say that was a mistake, but it took me a while to figure out my strategy was wrong. And there's something about being willing to make investments, but also investments in yourself and your career, but also being willing to be opportunistic and to follow something that really feels good, where your gut says, no, this is what I love right now. Yeah. I was like the .com, like 96 should have been like the best part of my career. And it was the worst part of my career. I was miserable almost every day. So I started doing random things.
Yeah.
Harvard, like, interestingly, Harvard was something I decided to do when I was 13 years old. You know, we had a family friend who ran Black & Decker, and I really admired him, and great family. I'd go see him every year.
I'm trying to remember his name because I
Nolan Archibald.
That was a family friend. You meet him in DC?
Yeah, in Maryland.
Yeah, because he's a legend too. Yeah,
he is a great leader, very successful business leader. He went to Harvard, and so I said, I'm going to go to Harvard. Now, interesting, my dad went to Kellogg, went to Northwestern, and because I love consumer and brand so much, Kellogg probably would have been a great fit for me.
Yeah.
But I decided that's where I was going to go to school. And so I sort of built consulting as like the right platform to get into Harvard. And it took me a minute to figure out I just wasn't happy doing what I was doing as a consultant. And by the way, I went to Harvard, and I made some good friends. It's an experience that I value, but probably not something that was that valuable to me.
The network you make there seems to sometimes be more valuable than the education. And
it's not even close. And the network is phenomenally valuable.
Yeah.
The education it's a great education, but when you're an entrepreneur, your education is tenfold every year.
Yeah.
Like when you have skin in the game and you have to learn.
Yeah.
And I realize that, and I would even say, you know, the last 12 months of my career, I learned more than the prior 20 years combined. There's something about having skin in the game.
Yep.
And it's not when you're succeeding, and it's when it's deeply painful.
Yep.
You learn fast.
Right.
Because learning matters.
Trial and error. Baby.
Trial and error, yes.
The world is a very efficient teacher. Yes.
It is.
It's not always pleasant.
It's a cruel teacher, but you know what? It's awesome. That's where growth comes from.
So I want to get to Skullcandy. I want to get to Traeger. I want to hear all the stories.
So it's a 3-year program at Harvard?
2 year.
It was 2 year.
Yep.
So 2 years. So you were done in 2002 from Harvard. And then how did you find yourself in Utah and joining Skullcandy?
Well, so truth be known, I graduated without a job. I had decided to become an entrepreneur, and my parents had relocated from DC to Park City. And so I had a basement to live in.
Okay.
They didn't love that. Or they loved me, but like, hey, first of all, you're a single guy. Like, stop focusing so
You were
much
single
on,
during all this
I was.
time,
Stop
okay.
focusing so much on your career, and you're living in our basement again. And so I partnered with my cousin to build a business. It was a consumer business called Igloo's Frozen Drinks. So I won't go into what it does, other than to say I graduated from Harvard and I got a phone call from Career Services. They said, "Hey, Business Week does this annual business school edition every October. You know, we've given them some name. Would it be okay if we gave them your name to interview you?" I'm like, "Whoa, no one's ever interviewed me before." Like, high school newspaper, no interest whatsoever in me. And so I took the interview, had 2 or 3 interviews. And I came and took pictures, and I'm building this startup from my parents' basement. And there was a moment where an article was published in this October Business Week edition, or Business School edition. And I opened it up, and I see this giant centerfold picture of me looking depressed.
Oh gosh.
And the title of the article was, "Hi Mom, hi Dad, I'm home."
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, you know, if
That's what the journalist turned it into?
yeah,
It was like
by-
a .com economy bust article.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
No, it was so it was the, like, what's the value of an MBA? And
so Harvard's like, who's like the worst
that's exactly
graduate?
It
Go
was
to Jeremy.
It was the poster child. It's like, this is 2002. The dot-com bubble had burst.
Yeah.
And it was like, couldn't find a job, so I moved in with Mom and Dad. And by the way, it wasn't true. I turned down jobs in consulting and in other places in banking because they weren't. I went back to school in part because I wanted to build a different career. So I decided to become an entrepreneur. And the first time I opened that article, I was with my then girlfriend named Kristen. She must have seen potential because we have 6 children together now.
She committed.
But I'm saying, hey, let's go check it out. I hear it's on the magazine stand. I knew it was.
Yeah.
And we went to Barnes and Noble together, and we opened it. And I'm like, oh gosh, it was slightly embarrassing. Days later, I'm flying to Dallas to raise money for this business, and I walk into this venture capital office, and we sit down, we're talking. The guy says, "You look so familiar," and he says, "Hold on a second." He goes to his office, comes, and he opens this article, and it basically said he decided to become an entrepreneur because he couldn't find a job. So, you know what? As my dad said, a little embarrassing for an introverted kid. It's either a good time or a good story.
That had to have helped you out in that pitch meeting, though.
All press is good press.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
yeah,
That probably made you very memorable.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
Okay, so you do this frozen drink company.
A great experience. I loved it. I had an amazing experience. Was not enormously successful, but in part because my business partner and I, who was my cousin and best friend growing up. By the way, this is a different story than where we started. We needed to part ways.
Yes.
We were in the
Better friends than business partners.
but you know what? No, with friends and business partners, you know, he has a great life. He's been very successful. He's building a multi-billion-dollar data center. So I can tell the story now. I'm in Southern California on a business, like I'm trying to sell an event venue. I'm sleeping in like a $50 motel, and I'm going, and on the way there, I get a call from our office manager, and Deidre said, she's like panicked, hyperventilating. She said, I won't use his name, but everybody knows this guy. He's like, your cousin, I just got a call from a sheriff, and your cousin drove the Igloo's truck off a cliff, high on crack, and he's in jail. And I said, "Oh my gosh, okay." I suspected something for like 6 months. Something was not quite right.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, Deidre, calm down. Where is he? Like, where is he? I don't know. I didn't write it down. Some small town in Louisiana." Like, that's great. Okay, so I go back to my cheap hotel. I cancel my sales call. And I spend hours dialing for my cousin. Found him, did not bail him out, and then about 2 weeks after that, I decided that this was not the right time for us to raise money as business partners. love him to death, an amazing human being, you know, sober for decades, married with children, but what I realized, and it was I won't say it was a failed business. I mean, we were doing a few $1 million in revenue, and you know, we paid ourselves like 20 grand a year, which was nothing even then. But I loved it. Like, I loved being a builder. I loved the risk, mostly because I loved the exhilaration of the feedback that you get along the way as a business builder.
Yeah.
So this had to lead right after that into Skullcandy, or was there something in between?
You know what? There was a brief stint in between, and part was that didn't go well. I had $150,000 of business school debt. It was at like an 8% rate, which is expensive. So I'm paying off my business school like a mortgage, $700 a month over 30 years.
Wow.
And so I said, okay, I got to get a job. Like, this didn't go well. I've got 20 grand. You know, it's all I had. I'd already day traded my money away. I was already in the hole, $200,000 and paying interest on it. And so I went and got a job. I went to San Francisco. I'd read something about a CEO, a guy named Mike DePady, who was running Kimpton hotels and restaurants in the city. And I said, okay, this is interesting. It's fun. I'm going to go and see if I'm employable. And it turns out I wasn't. You know, and it was because I got there and I was just bored. Like, it's the last time I did something where I just kept looking at my watch 100 times a day. I had plenty to do, totally uninspired. So good people. I had a perfectly good experience there. But I got a phone call one day, and it was someone who said, hey, there's this guy that's starting this helmet audio company. And I think it's really good. I think it's got really cool concept. It's called Skullcandy. And I'm like, Skullcandy, like, that's got an interesting ring to it. And I go back to with my wife in Southern California, or my girlfriend then, and we go back and we dial up the internet on AOL, and I get on this website. Probably wasn't quite that bad then. I get on this website, and it's got this 10-second heavy metal loop going over and over. Yeah. And it was so bad, but like the rawness of the brand just felt so interesting and authentic, rooted in snowboarding originally.
Yeah. Yes.
Rooted in wearable electronics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
the skull and crossbones logo was there or not?
The skull was there. And you know, I would say a couple of weeks after that, I found myself in Park City driving towards the Skullcandy office. And I spent a day with Rick. We snowboarded, we listened to music, we ate sushi, and then I went back and I quit my job, and I became an entrepreneur.
This is it.
And I moved into my parents' basement again.
That's awesome.
So there you go. So I'm going to
was that where you guys met?
Yeah. So let me tell you my intersection here with you on that then. So I'm not sure if you were with Rick at the first one, but you may have been. So I was, with Utah Angels.
Yep.
And
I was not in that first meeting.
But Rick came. So my first interaction, and I really learned a lot from Skullcandy though. So you are a part of the story, Tyler. So real quickly, Skullcandy comes and presents to our angel group. None of us understood or got it. Skull and crossbones, Skullcandy, skateboarders and snowboarders, and
it was a hard business to raise money for.
But so we're there. But one of them got it in the room, Greg Warnock.
Oh, of course.
Okay. He's in the room and he got it. But the rest of us didn't really get it that much. So, but they gave us samples. So you gave us samples. I took them home and gave them to him.
I remember that.
And I know it was probably was it the Icon or
it was
probably the Skull Crusher.
It was a Skull Crusher.
Yeah,
so
with the battery tactile. Yes,
so then all four of my children, who Tyler at the time was probably 16-ish, maybe 17-ish.
That was our consumer.
Okay, so here's what happened. All four of my kids, this is the coolest brand and things I've ever seen. They thought it was so cool. So they sit there and say this. And so then I'm going, wait a minute, what did we miss here? Okay. And I sit there going like that. And I learned. And so then Rick did sit me down one time and shared with me about this. And also Greg and Rick together just taught me about, I underappreciated the power of a brand.
Yeah.
Especially in consumer products.
Yeah.
And I learned from Skullcandy that you can take even a standard product and slap a brand on it and do incredible things with it.
Yeah.
Now you obviously try to make those as high quality as possible and everything, but really it was the brand.
It was the brand.
This was what I then coined a term in my own life. It's called a brand play.
Yeah.
I later saw it when I mentored Reed Quinn with KT Tape.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was in a class I taught, and he sees this opportunity during the Olympics where those women are wearing the black tape on the volleyball team.
Yep.
And he takes and goes, I looked it up. There's nobody that's branded this product. It's KT tape or kinesiology tape or whatever it's called. Has existed forever, but nobody's created a brand around it. He goes, I'm going to create a brand.
Awesome.
And all he did is slap
What
a
a
brand
great
on it
idea.
and started marketing it. And look at what KT tape becomes. That's what you guys did at Skullcandy. And
Yeah.
it was really a big life lesson for me.
Yeah.
So I tip my hat to you guys and what you achieved at
Thank you.
Skullcandy. And next part of the story is much later, a year or two later, whatever it was. By the way, at that first pitch, we were offered at a $3 million pre-money valuation. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I remember that round. I put a bunch of money that I borrowed from my dad into that round.
Oh, wow.
And then a year or two later, whenever it was, you came back and we're now successful.
Yep.
Came and pitched to us again at a 70 million.
Yep.
Very unusual for us to even listen to a 70 million pre-money. And we all invested.
and you did well in that round.
Yes.
That was actually when
you went up
Mercado
to 2
put
billion,
it.
right?
Yeah.
You went to 1.2 to 2 billion.
Yeah.
And all that. So yeah, that's even at 70 million, I made good money.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it actually, so Greg, of course, came in very early in that $3 million round.
He was having to teach the rest of it what was going on, right?
Greg's a brilliant investor, and Mercado was our first institutional money that we took.
And that's how Jeff Curl then got involved and everything, right?
Yeah.
So it was. I just wanted to tip my hat to you, though. That was as far as me being an investor.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from the Skullcandy interaction.
So
brands are powerful.
Yeah.
So how did you fall into? I know we're skipping a lot here just for the sake of time, though. How did you fall into the Traeger thing? And
you know what?
You exit. How do you exit Skullcandy, and how do you get into Traeger?
And by the way, I just want to summarize those. Skullcandy, legendary Utah company,
Amazing.
incredible.
I'm not trying to glaze
all
over.
over the world. Everything got to. You were a unicorn company.
Yep.
Okay, for Utah, one of the first.
Yep.
Amazing story. And then here you go and you do it all again and do this great thing with Traeger. Yeah.
Yeah,
So go on that.
so I think it's important to say in the bridge a couple of things. Number one, I learned so much from Rick Alden. Rick Alden and I eventually took over as CEO, but he and I were like, there were three of us, but there were really two of us. Rick Alden and I were joined at the hip in an office, jumping out of helicopters in Alaska, in Hong Kong, in China. And I really learned a lot from Rick.
He has a native intelligence in branding.
He is a very intuitive entrepreneur.
It's making sense now. Your General Mills and Dad experience being around that, then combined with Rick Alden, has produced an incredible leader.
Yes.
Track record. Yeah.
And so tremendous learnings from Rick. And I would say tremendous learnings as a leader. It's the first time like I had to lead a team of 300 people in multiple global offices. And if I were to be honest, it was hard. I mean, it was a hard experience.
And you were in your 20s.
I was young. We were public. We were highly shorted, and honestly, it beat me up and it wore me down. It really did. And so I decided I hated running a public company. Rick came back in to run Skullcandy for 5 or 6 weeks. He realized he hated running a public company too. And I went out looking for my next venture, and I actually looked I was all over the place. I was at MIT Media Labs looking at technology to acquire or license. I was looking at nonprofits. I was everywhere. We had made enough money that it didn't have to be business for profit.
So you were looking something you really passionately wanted to do. I want to ask you, Warren Osborne, you remember him? Okay.
Very, very well.
And so
dear friend,
super close friend of mine too, just a legend also in consumer products space in Utah. I want to ask you this. He told me, John, he did Braven. Do you remember Braven?
I do. Yeah.
So he goes, John, the consumer electronics space is the most dog space I've ever been in.
It's nasty. Yeah.
He goes, it is the nastiest, meanest people. And so is that a little bit that wore you down in Skullcandy, that whole world too, a little bit?
It was the intersection between, I didn't know why people didn't want to invest in Skullcandy. And then the more we grew, the more we were subject to the competitive dynamic of consumer electronics. It's a horrible, it's a tough industry.
It is tough. Yeah, I just want.
And so it was that in a public markets that just didn't believe in us. So that was tough.
Okay, back to Traeger. Thanks.
Yeah, and so I take a year off. I look at a lot of things. I also like, it wasn't just a year to look. I actually took time and got to know my wife and my children. And that was
super smart.
It was just a way to sort of reset my priorities in life. For me, the path of least resistance is like build a business. Like my mind goes to my business all the time.
Right.
And I needed to sort of create some boundaries because there was no boundaries. And it's still something that's daily maintenance. It's like, how do I prioritize this and still be a successful CEO? But I found Traeger along the way as one of 50 things that I looked at. And I was mesmerized by the passion that I saw. It was an Oregon-based business. It's a very small Pacific Northwest brand. And it was really kludgy early adopters product that was so error prone.
Mm-hmm.
But consumers loved it. Like they preached, like my dad used a Traeger. It was a 27-year-old business that really hadn't made its way out. No marketing team. It didn't really have a brand. It had an innovative product. And so I loved the energy that I felt there. And I saw so many corollaries with Skullcandy, like completely unrelated consumers and
yet
products.
Similar. Yeah.
It's the reinvention of a consumer category that had not innovated, that had underserved consumers. It had created this race to the bottom on product and price. And it wasn't because consumers didn't value food or outdoor cooking. The brands weren't giving them any reason to invest.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning. And honestly, the blueprint from Skullcandy, where I really had no foundation, I was making it all up and trying, like learning where I could.
Yeah.
There was a blueprint. I spent a ton of time before Traeger, post Skullcandy, writing about my experience, like really being introspective around the success and the failures. And so that became the blueprint, at least for the first 2 or 3 years at Traeger. And then, like you said, businesses go like this.
Yes.
And we've had that all the way along. And what I've realized is, as a business leader and still trying to be an entrepreneur, because I think that's important, you have to reinvent yourself, and you have to reinvent your team, and you've got to reinvent your company. And if you don't do that, you get disrupted the same way that you were disrupted.
Because not even just consumer electronics, but just consumer products are dog eat dog. There's competitors.
Yeah. Don't be stale. You got to
Don't get stale.
reinnovate.
Yeah. So, but is this a true statement? For outside looking in and knowing you and your great history and everything, I saw what you did with Traeger was you took what you learned at Skullcandy of saying, here is a pretty commoditized consumer product.
Yep.
Let's put a brand on it.
Yep.
And go after and find a wedge.
Yep.
Right. Into the market, and you did skateboarders and snowboarders with Skullcandy, and then grew to be a general product for everybody with sound audio equipment. Now Traeger Grill, an inventor's product.
It's a definite playbook.
Yeah,
it's a playbook.
Totally.
And so then you said, okay, but let's now put a brand on this.
Yeah.
And the people that love it because of the unique nature of it, and people that are passionate grillers, and then you put this general consumer brand on to make it.
We wanted to go after a mass consumer.
The company for 25 plus years sounds like it found a wedge.
Yep.
But now you needed to slap a brand on it and create a culture and take it this way.
It's spot on. That's actually exactly right. And one of my learnings at Skullcandy is that you want an equal brand and product moat in consumer.
Yeah.
We were, as much as we tried to innovate on product, headphones are hard to innovate on other than materialization. And we were all brand.
Yeah.
And I think that left us a little bit vulnerable when we started selling outside of our core 14 to 24-year-old skater, snowboarder, sort of irreverent male teen. And so what I loved about Traeger is it had no brand, but it started with a product point of difference.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've really tried to do is make sure that product and brand are always creating value.
Yeah.
And it ebbs and flows. You launch new innovation and product is taking you further, but like over a long period of time in the world of consumer, if you do just one or the other, you don't have the same defensibility. And I actually think consumers are a hard place to make money because you have to reinvent or a consumer moves on.
Yeah. Well, we're so low on time.
I know.
Should we just close with our standard thing? But I also want to say, just as kind of one of the old dogs of Utah here, I want to say, I really want to pay you a compliment and say how great you've done for yourself and your companies, but also for the Utah ecosystem. And,
Thank you, John.
And just, I tip my hat to you.
Thank you. And I first of all, thank you. And I'll respond by saying, it's interesting to look at the journey of an entrepreneur. And I came here without 2 nickels to rub together. And I was desperate to build a business and to succeed. And it wasn't until I got 16, 17 years into it that my wife and I sort of looked at each other and said, Utah's been a really important part of this.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this has been a community that has supported us. It has like really nurtured. It's been friendly as investors, as customers, a place to build a brand. We love Utah, and we love that this community of entrepreneurs, although it's so much bigger than it was 21 years ago when I came here, it's still very connected. It's very friendly.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like, so I
It's
really
very
do.
unique.
It's
Very
unique. I look at Utah and say
And it's
this was
hard
an
to
important
explain.
part of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain to those outside.
They don't get it when I try and explain. Like, wait, you do.
But they do get it because they're coming here to find good
Yeah,
deals.
they are
Yes, they
coming.
are.
They're
Let's
coming.
end on this note.
Yeah.
We always love to ask at the end and say, if you had to leave one big tip or advice for the budding or entrepreneur who wants to make it, what's the one thing you'd share with them?
You know what? Oh, I could give you 1,000
I know,
things.
but one or two. Give us one or two.
So I will share the one, which is the passion for building and problem solving is so much more important than any milestone in the journey. When your journey as an entrepreneur is built around milestones, exits, fundraising, I think you can miss the joy of what you actually get to do. And I didn't realize that till I had my first exit, and I sort of said, like, the journey was great, but the exit was like, it felt great for 24 hours.
Yes.
And I've had parts of my journey that I really haven't enjoyed because it was just focused on an outcome.
We all of our you're going to be our 45th episode, and we've had so many people on, and this pattern keeps coming up.
Yeah.
They get to the top of the mountain, 24 hours. Is this it?
It's it.
And they go, it was way more fun climbing up.
You know what? And so it's cliche to say, enjoy the journey. Like, it's truly all you have. And,
Yes.
and it can be amazing.
Yeah.
And if you get to the top of the mountain and you haven't enjoyed the journey, it's like, it doesn't mean anything.
And I tell
Yeah.
people, I say this, I teach this lesson. It's like a pair of glasses, 2 lenses. One lens is, focus on value and value creation and the money and economic side. But the other side is the passion for creating a product or service that makes people's lives better.
It's the best.
It's just
And
so
those 2
funny.
things. And it says, if you focus on just one of those things, you'll
Yeah.
never make it. They
Yeah.
both have to be focused on. And it's funny, if you really focus on helping people with solving their problems and fulfilling their needs,
It's very
the
symbiotic.
economic side
Yeah.
comes from it.
Always,
Yeah.
It always follows.
Build
Yeah.
value and the money will follow, right?
That's for sure.
Well,
Well,
man,
okay.
we could go on for hours.
I
here.
know.
This is fun.
And I know you have somewhere to be, so we need to wrap up the podcast so that so Jordan doesn't get pissed at me. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to wrap it up. So I think that's it. We're going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for
course. Thank
coming.
you for having me.
Seriously, we really appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And that is it for the episode today. Like, subscribe, follow Jeremy on LinkedIn, follow him on Instagram, wherever he's at, follow him. Him and his family are so.
Buy a Traeger grill.
Yeah, buy a
There we
Traeger
go.
grill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Thank you so much. This is another episode of the Startup Ignition Podcast. We are out.